Today's card is another club kit from Spellbinders, and we're going to be working with it. So we've got Pansy Seed Co. die set, and it is a small die of the month. You've got like a little, almost like a tablecloth or a table, and then the pot, the florals, and the pot is multi-dimensional, as well as the flowers. And I have already die cut out all my pieces. I've got it in my little Dollar Tree tray. I'm bringing in my old waffle flower mat. I've got new ones now, and I'm going to use this just to lay all of my little bits and pieces. I colored all of my flowers, or die cut all of my flowers out in just white hammer mill cardstock. And then I used scraps for the colored cardstock that I used. And so right now we're just going to get all of these pieces laid down on here. And then I'm going to ink blend. I was trying to use scraps for all these because they're, smaller dies. And I decided for the florals I would use white. And I'll actually do it for the stems as well because I kind of ran out of my scrap green pieces. And so then I'm going to use white for the stems as well. For my colors, I used speckled egg for the lighter blue, and then I'm using Uncharted Mariner for the darker blue, and these are distressed oxides. Now, I mostly just have distressed oxides. I have a few minis of some different ones, but I mostly use distressed oxides on my channel because that's what I started collecting, and I'm trying to keep, it affordable. Anyway, so I'm just going to take some of the Uncharted Mariner and kind of go around the edges of the bigger flowers. And then I used it for the extra petals to just darken those all up. And these little tiny pieces are the centers of the flowers, and I'm going to add some color to them. Now I'm realizing that I need two more of the florals that droop because I've got two stems, and I've just die cut out one of it. So I'm going to bring in my Scout, and I'm going to grab those itty bitties again and some more white cardstock and just die cut it out, and then I can ink those up while I've got the ink all out. Just get that out of the way and then ink those up, and then I've got what I need for the stems that I have created. So we'll just get some ink on there, and we're going to lay all of our florals to the side, and then I'm going to need to clean up this sticky mat because I'm going to bring green in, and I just don't want to mix the green and the blue or whatever. And here's all my little tiny pieces. I'm getting them aside. So we'll clean this off, and then we'll bring in our cardstock pieces. I just used, actually we're going to do these green leaves here, and then we're going to bring in our colored cardstock pieces, the leaves, and we'll add some color to them as well, just so that they have some dimension. But I didn't have enough kind of scraps for these stems, so I just die cut them out in white, and I thought, well, we'll just lay some color down on them with, I've got pine needles and mowed lawn are the two colors that I've laid out for this. I thought the pine needles would be good for the stems, and the lighter, or the mowed lawn would be good for the stems and the lighter green to add some dimension. And then I needed the pine needles for the darker ones. But then I decided to come back in and go ahead and add a little bit of the pine needles to the lighter green, the peridot, and create some dimension. So we've got all of our bits and pieces here, and I've slowed it back down, and we're going to get to assembly. Now these florals, you've got a large flower and then a smaller one, and then you've got coordinating layers to go with them. So this is the larger one, and you just kind of line the V's up in them pretty much. And then there are larger floral centers, and there are smaller ones, and then there are larger hearts. It's a heart-looking piece that goes in the center, and I've got them in my tray off to the side, and I'm going to leave them white. But I've colored up these floral centers with the blue, and then the little heart piece that layers. Actually, the piece that I'm laying down here looks like two hearts kind of layered, and then you're going to bring in an additional heart and lay it over the layered piece. It has the debossed detail to show you where it goes. So I'm going to put just a little bit of glue on there. I'm going to grab my tray, and here's all my little white heart pieces that are the insides of the top layer of the flower, and that's what you get. And so I'm going to bring in my stems, and we're just going to get them attached. And these pieces here that I did, the darker with the uncharted marinara are just like an extra petal. And so you can just add them and tuck them just wherever you want to do. So that's what I'm going to do. That one I actually put ink on it upside down, but it doesn't matter. Most of the stem's going to get covered or cut off anyway. And then we're going to layer another one. And if you want, you can just flip up the petals to add some dimension. You could add some foam tape. I didn't do that. It's kind of a small area where you glue it anyway. And so I'm just going to fluff up my petals on there and just add some more dimension to it. And I'm just finding my bigger center pieces because I'm doing my second bigger one. And then we'll use the smaller center pieces for the smaller florals. And we'll just get that laid down on there. And I'm going to bring in the white heart, and this is the largest white heart of the two. And then the smaller ones go on the smaller florals. I'm just using my pick tool to kind of fluff up my my petals, and then I'm going to get my darker petal laid down on there. And I think the ink blending really does a lot for creating interest for these and dimension for these flowers. I think it's fun. You know, you could certainly just use a solid colored cardstock, but I think the ink blending just adds, you know, extra detail and just extra interest to them. So these are the smaller flowers. Now, there are shorter stems and longer stems, and I just kind of mixed it up. I did one of the big flowers on a long one of them on a short one, and then I'm going to do the same with these smaller petals. And I'm just grabbing this smaller center and laying it on there, and then we'll get the small heart and lay it on there as well. So your wax tool and your poke tool is great for this because you can just pick them up and kind of position them with your tool, and it really is helpful. So I'm going to bring in some of those darker petals for these smaller ones as well and attach them, and then we'll get it laid down on its stem, and we'll get these assembled. Now there really are three types of flowers. You've got the large one, you've got the smaller version of the large one, and then you've got a droopy type of flower. And so we'll put those on the stems that kind of have the bent stem, and it'll be interesting. Now here I'm just kind of cupping the floral petals a little bit just to add some interest, and we'll get it assembled. So this is kind of repetitive. We're just getting them all together, but I just thought I would show you all of the assembly of the flowers. So I'm going to grab that smallest heart and get it laid down on there. I kept those little pieces in the tray just so they wouldn't get lost on my glass mat or get attached to another piece and then I can't find them or whatever. A lot of times I'll put a piece of tape on the smallest items just so I can keep all of them kind of connected together. Now here I've got glue on my fingers and it was sticking to me, so I'm going to give it a good press, fluff up my petals, and then we've got these other florals, and there are two layers. You've got the bottom layer and the top layer, and just layer them up, and then we'll add them to their stem. And you can see we've got a stem that this is a droopy kind of flower, and we're just going to get it laid down on there, and it'll be an interesting little addition to our cluster of flowers. So today is Saturday, and I'm trying to get, it's actually the day after Good Friday. Well, it's the Saturday between Good Friday and Easter. And I'm just trying to get some of my videos done ahead of time, but I've got a lot of work to do. So today I need to make my deviled eggs. I think I'm going to go ahead and cook my beef for my beef and noodles and get it ready. And I've got to make a angel food cake with strawberry whipped topping. And what else? I don't know. I've just got several things I've got to get done. I need to actually set my place settings up at all of my tables. I'm going to have a large crowd. So I've got a lot of work to do. So I thought I got to get my crafting, making my video, my voiceover, and all of this stuff out of the way so that I can just get busy, setting all my place settings at all of my dinner tables and getting everything set up and ready to go because I am going to have a large crowd. But we are going to have ham and this is a kind of a big menu. We're going to have ham, macaroni and cheese. We're going to have beef and noodles. We're going to have a salad, of course, dinner rolls. We're going to have some peas because my sister requested peas with her macaroni or with her beef and noodles. And we're going to have dinner rolls, and we're going to have a little cheese ball with some crackers for hors d'oeuvres at the beginning. And I'll probably need to make I don't know, maybe some brownies or something for the kids. I'll get some ice cream too, and we'll have that. The reason why we're having the angel food cake with a strawberry whipped topping is we'll be celebrating my husband's birthday because it's the next day, and his favorite cake for his birthday is angel food cake with strawberry whipped topping. And so I always try to make that for him every year, and that's what we're going to have. So I'm just getting my, this is the top layer to the flower pot, and I thought I need to stick my flowers in before I get the back put on it. And I'll struggle with it a little bit. I actually did die cut out some dirt to go behind this, but I wound up not adding it because I wind up covering most of that area up with the florals, and then I'll just tuck some leaves in for the rest of it. So I ran a little tape runner on the back of this, the lid to the, oh, it's not really a lid, the top to the flower pot. And so I'm using that tape runner to kind of hold them. It's kind of holding them, but they keep falling, and I'll just keep adding them. And eventually we'll add some more tape runner and some glue just to hold them all in place. But I'm just trying to figure out how I want to position these flowers in this pot. And so rather than, having the back of the pot on there yet, I'm just tucking them in the slit and getting them all arranged. And you can see they're just kind of falling all over the place until I eventually stick some glue on there so that I can hold them in place and keep them positioned where I want them. So I'm going to fuss with them a little bit. I want these hanging ones down kind of off to the sides. And so here I'm going to take some glue and just tuck some of them so they'll stop moving around as much. And then I can kind of get, ensure a little bit better placement. I will move things around again and then add some tape runner to it and just kind of get them all. Actually, I think I bring in a strip of tape just because they keep moving around, and I'm like, I just want to get them held in place and kind of stop flopping around. And I've got glue on my fingers, so they're wanting to stick to my fingers too. So just trying to get them positioned. And then I think I just grab a piece of tape and I'm just going to kind of stick it behind there. And that way I can kind of hold everything in place and start to figure out how I'm going to position this. Now this pot actually needs to tuck underneath the rim of that. So next I decide maybe I need to just build my card base and start assembling things. Now you're not going to like this probably, but this panel I had foiled with the press and foil plate of the month. And I die cut the center out thinking I was going to use it for something and then decided against it. So I'm going to flip it over, and it's just going to add a little bit of that, it's Oceanside, I think is what it's called. It's going to put that dark teal behind my white embossed panel. I used the embossing folder of the month for this, and I'm going to pop it up. So I'm going to grab some foam tape, and we're just going to get some foam tape laid down on here. I'm going to have the raised edge popped up, and we'll just put 3 strips of foam tape down here, and then we can start building our card. So back to Easter dinner. I also am going to need to get the eggs out, and when Pat gets home, he's going to need to fill the eggs with money and, maybe some treats or something so that we can have an Easter egg hunt. We will have several kids. We'll have all of our grandkids here, and so we will have an Easter egg hunt. Hopefully the weather will hold out. I really haven't checked the weather today to see what it's going to be like tomorrow, but we'll have an Easter egg hunt at some point. And if we have to, we'll have it inside, but I think it'll be fine. So this is the little trim piece. It kind of looks like, almost like the edge of a table or a tablecloth or a shelf or something. And it's just going to be the landing zone for our flower pot. And so we'll just get it laid down on there. And I'm going to show you, this is the die right here. You can actually make it larger if you want to do like a landscape style card, and it'll fit better. So here's where I'm going to attach the bottom of my pot to my flowers, and it needs to actually tuck up underneath the rim so that we have the dimensions. So I'm going to slide it right up in there and just get it attached. Now it's not really attached very well, but I'm going to trim the stems off. I'm going to get it laid down on there, try to position everything, and then I'll realize my tape is sticking up here, so I trimmed it off. But then I'll realize that I need to put some glue on the bottom of that pot so that it will hold. Now you'll notice I haven't added any of my leaves yet. I'm using the tape runner to kind of secure everything. My plan was just to come back in and kind of tuck the leaves in to any empty spaces and just kind of fill in. And this fits perfect on the A2 size card. We've got a little, we could have probably put the shelf down a little bit lower, but I think it turns out just fine. So I'm just positioning all my flowers, getting them where I want them and lifting the petals and getting some dimension. And then I've got a couple more of these extra leaves, and I'm just going to tuck them and fill in some spaces and make it look a little bit fuller. So we're just going to start tucking our leaves around. And since I didn't put my dirt around the bottom of the pot, I'm going to tuck leaves and make sure that I cover any area where that dirt would have gone. And so there was a layer that I had die cut out that I didn't add. And you don't necessarily need it as full as these florals are. And I always watch Nick Nimmin on Saturday morning. It is a YouTube help channel. And I was watching it, and I reached over and commented about it. They were talking about old school stuff, like when kids used to mow with flip-flops and, no safety glasses and stuff like that back in the day, and now how we put so much protective equipment on everything, and it was kind of funny. So I made some comment about it. But anyway, that's what I do on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock is I try to catch that channel because they provide help to small YouTubers like myself. And I find it very helpful to just kind of listen to the recommendations. And the other thing they'll do is they will look at your channel and they'll make suggestions. So they have a form that you can submit, and you submit your questions, and they go through their forms while they're live, and they'll actually go to your channel and look at whatever your question is, and then they'll make suggestions. So it's really cool. But it's every morning at 9 a.m. It's Nick Nimmin. Anyway, so I was watching that as I a lot of times when I'm making cards and stuff, this is where I realized, ooh, you need some more glue down there. But a lot of times when I'm crafting, I've got different YouTubers on and I'm watching them. Sometimes, I've got lives on and stuff like that. But my Saturday morning at 9 a.m. is reserved for this particular content, just to try and help myself grow my channel. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. I'm, trying to grow my channel and trying to scale it up. So I appreciate every single subscriber that I get. And if you like my content, if you would consider hitting the like, it does greatly help my channel because it basically tells YouTube, people like this content, keep putting it in front of people. And so that's kind of how it works. I think this turned out beautiful. I said this already, but this month's kit, club kits are so fun. I've loved every one of them. So I've got one of my sentiments from the press and foil that I have ready, and I'm just going to add a little tape. I get way too much tape on here, and I'll have to cut it back to get it to lay right. But we've got a very nice sentiment on here, and we're going to just add it. And this is where I've got it I needed the foam for where it hangs off the panel, but I added too much, so we'll just cut it back until we get it right. This particular sentiment says grateful for you, and I'm going to add some glue on the side that's going to lay on the pot, and then we've got our foam tape for the other side of it, and we're just going to get it laid down on here, and we've got our sentiment on our card. And I think it's really pretty, very full flower pot of flowers. And then I'm going to bring in some Spellbinders gems and just add some embellishments to our card. These are the opal ones. I think this is actually a mix because I think there's some different ones on the bottom. And I'm just going to put 3 floral centers. I'm just going to add this to the centers of the flowers. And then we'll put 2 on our sentiment. And it'll look, it'll just add a little sparkle to it. And just a little extra interest. And so I'll get the 3rd one on the floral center there. And that'll pretty much finish it off. And I had a lot of fun with it. I think it's super fun. I love the color. I love the ink blending. So thanks for watching. Here's a picture that you can check out. I hope you liked it. And here's a couple more videos you can check out. Thanks for watching.